dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good Thursday afternoon to you. I'm Dakota Makerist. First at 4, the second and final day of SOAR ended this afternoon with state and federal officials celebrating eastern Kentucky and looking ahead at the challenges facing our communities. WYMT's Zach Hawk was there and spoke with Governor Andy Beshear about the SOAR program.
Governor Beshear celebrated recent job announcements like App Harvest, Rejoins, and Firestone while sharing his optimism that more good things are on the way. Other speakers echoed the governor, including Congressman Hal Rogers, Appalachian Regional Commission co-chair Gail Manchin, and SOAR President Colby Hall. Participants had the opportunity to network with officials from across the Commonwealth and share ideas on lifting eastern Kentucky communities. Governor Beshear saw cooperation as the way to accomplish these goals.
What we see here is unity, the belief that as Kentuckians we share more than any political ideology could pull us apart, that as a region, eastern Kentucky wants to thrive.
A lot of great and optimistic ideas come out of SOAR, and as participants return to their towns, the work of implementing those ideas begins. In Corbin, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Zach will have more from the summit and on the work that lies ahead coming up tonight at 6. Well, Prince William has some choice words for world leaders about the future of the environment. He says he's concerned politicians are all talk and no action and worries what life will be like for a future generation. Prince William's comments come just weeks before world leaders arrive in the UK for an international climate change conference. The Queen, Prince Charles, and Prince William will attend the COP26 United Nations Climate Change Conference next month in Scotland.
And we've got big changes coming in the weather department as we head into the next 48 hours or so. Not so much tonight, but as we head into tomorrow and Saturday, that's when we've got some big changes on the way. I-64 camera at Moorhead to see the clouds we started off with today. We saw a little bit of sunshine, but more high clouds beginning to work in. Mount Vernon, a similar story. Blue sky, but again, a few clouds with us this afternoon. Temperatures out there appropriately warm. Jackson's sitting at 80, but that's actually down a couple degrees. We've unofficially tied that record of 82 set back just 4 years ago, but it's something we'll be keeping an eye on. We're still a few degrees away from that record in London. Look at Monticello checking in at 84. Pinpoint Doppler around here, a clean sweep, so keep that WYMT weather app handy tonight because we will have a little bit of that sunshine around, and we're not going to fall very fast temperature-wise tonight, only into those low to mid-60s, or I should say middle to upper 60s by the time we wake up on our Friday morning. And what a Friday we've got in store. Big changes on the way, and I'll have those details coming up in just a little bit. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you. President Joe Biden received a briefing from his COVID-19 response team today about the latest in the fight against the pandemic. Vaccine mandates are already facing legal challenges. Wednesday, a federal judge in Texas blocked United Airlines from putting unvaccinated workers on leave. While the Biden administration pushes for Americans to get their first vaccine dose, an FDA advisory committee is looking into whether people with the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine need a booster shot.
Over time, there is still relative preservation of the effectiveness of the vaccine against preventing hospitalization, yet there seems to be a decrease over the course of time against overall COVID-19 that was observed.
A vote on the Moderna booster shot is expected later today. The group is scheduled to vote on the Johnson & Johnson booster tomorrow. The CDC will have to approve the booster shots as well before they become available to the public. A new medicine to treat COVID-19 could be on the way. The U.S. government is starting to review Regeneron's COVID-19 monoclonal antibody cocktail for full approval. The drug maker says the Food and Drug Administration has accepted its priority review application. Regeneron wants full approval to treat patients infected with the virus who are in the hospital. The FDA has given the company a target action date of April 13th, 2022. The Transportation Security Administration says 40% of its workers are unvaccinated, and the deadline is coming soon. They need to be fully vaccinated by November 20th 22nd, right before the busy Thanksgiving travel period. It takes weeks for the dose to kick in. Even with the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, employees would have to get the shot by November 8th. The TSA administrator says the agency is creating contingency plans in case of a short staff. Well, 2 police forces are mourning the loss of an officer many say was one of a kind. Oliver Little died yesterday after a battle against COVID-19. Little served the Floyd County community in one way or another for decades and was in the process of transitioning from his deputy role at the Floyd County Sheriff's Office into an officer role at the Pikeville Police Department.
Anything you ask him to do, he loved a challenge. I mean, I don't care if I said, Oliver, we need an astronaut here at the department. Man, I'm your man. I'll do that. I'll go, it didn't matter what you asked him to sign up for. He'd take it, he'd complete it, and be top of the class when he did.
We will share more of Little's huge impact coming up at 6. New data from the CDC shows a record number of people died from reported drug overdoses in a 12-month period during the pandemic. More than 96,000 drug overdose deaths reported from March 2020 to March 2021. It's an increase of nearly 30% in these deaths from the year before. Reported overdose deaths there rose more than 85% in that time period. The CDC says opioids accounted for the highest number of overdose deaths, followed by synthetic opioids excluding methadone. The House investigation into the January 6th Capitol attack is entering a new phase, with members on the Select Committee probing key allies of former President Donald Trump. Some are refusing to comply with subpoenas, and lawmakers on the committee have warned they're prepared to take action. New York Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who chairs the Oversight Committee, says she believes the January 6th committee will be aggressive in enforcing their growing list of subpoenas.
In our country, no one is above the law, including the President of the United States. We're a government by the people, for the people, and that's what January 6th is trying to look at.
Now, in a letter, the White House counsel said the president believes the assertion of executive privilege is not in the best interests of the United States and is therefore not justified. Well, the U.S. has officially rejoined the United Nations Human Rights Council. America withdrew under President Donald Trump 3 years ago. U.S. ambassadors to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, says the U.S. will continue to promote women's rights and oppose religious intolerance, racial and ethnic injustices, and violence against minority groups. Cameroon, Eritrea, and the United Arab Emirates also joined the council Thursday, despite concerns over their own human rights records. Well, the gridlock in ports are driving up prices and threatening holiday shopping plans. Several major shippers are trying to expand their working hours to tackle the crisis, and the Port of Los Angeles has announced it will operate around the clock. The Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach handle 40% of the nation's imports. Dock workers are ready to work around the clock, and it's already in their current contract, but all these extra hours are going to be expensive. Rampant shoplifting is forcing retail stores to close in San Francisco. Walgreens has announced it is shutting down 5 stores because of the spike in theft. Now, this is in addition to the 17 stores the retailer had previously shuttered in the past few years. Jason Brewer of the Retail Industry Leaders Association says the stolen goods then end up being sold online. And Walgreens isn't alone. Earlier this year, Target decided to limit store hours for some locations in the city due to shoplifting problems. Well, about 10,000 United Auto Workers union members went on strike against John Deere earlier Thursday morning. The union had reached a tentative agreement on a new 6-year contract with the farm and construction equipment maker 2 weeks ago, but 90% of the rank and file union members rejected it in a ratification vote that concluded on Sunday. The strike shuts operations at 11 factories in Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas, and 3 distribution centers in Georgia, Illinois, and Colorado. Well, heading over to Wall Street on this Thursday, the Dow closes up more than 534 points. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. Well, still to come on First at 4, Butterball is recalling some of its ground turkey products due to contamination concerns.
And another round of showers and storms working in before you know it. I'll have that full breakdown straight ahead.